you asking questions, you clarifying things, and if my messaging is wrong, you telling me, okay? Because feedback is a gift, and I really mean that. That's important to me. Now, the style I've got a couple of things to talk about tonight. My style, John knows, those who've worked with me before, my style is democratic. That doesn't mean it's rudderless or leaderless. There's a period, and like anything to do with paddling, I apply what I call the MEAT principle, MEAT. Measure, evaluate, assess, test, everything. So if we decide we're going 2 legs forward, 1 leg forward, legs in the air, 1 leg behind your ear, whatever, we'll measure, evaluate, assess, and test. But as a group, this is a global group, not a UK silo group, or UK and Germany in this case. Once we decide what we're doing, that's what we're doing. Yeah, as a group. So it is not my way, it is our way. And we measure, evaluate, assess, and test everything. We're not going to be assessing and testing on the day of the grand final. So well in advance of that, we'll know what's going on. I was asked today, and I'll mention this now, about time trials. As you know, the time trial is a single event at a point and time in space. However, every paddle stroke, every weekly return is a benchmark piece, is a time trial piece. And I've done this in the past, having been coaching GB since 2012 and been involved in GB since a few years before that. We have lost some really good paddlers. Say, I'll pick on Scott because he's sitting there quietly. Say Scott is a great paddler, but he has a bad day on the time trial, and he doesn't perform up. You know, in the past we've excluded people on the basis of a bad time trial. Now I'm not expecting Scott to do a bad time trial, of course, but if we measure and evaluate you over a period, so we collect some ergo returns, some strength and conditioning with this, that, and all the rest of it, then I have a good picture of John or Angie or Joe or Ian or Mike, the athlete. And so what actually happens is the time trial event is really a confirmation of what we already know, if you know what I mean. And how we do it, if you're not familiar with my preferred method, which is my preferred method, it can change, is we have a pre-trial, and that's usually about 6 weeks before the main trial. And we end up with people who are clearly right on the money. We have a group who are maybe not quite there. So if, for example, we're asking for, I don't know, 320 for the ladies in an 01 over 500 meters, and a few people come in at 321, 322, 323 maybe. And I think, and they think, from the stats I've seen, it's likely they're going to close that gap. Then we give them a provisional offer, and we give them a route map to make that ground in the next 6 weeks. That's the way it works. So we are as inclusive as we can be across the piece. But of course, there has to be a cut-off. That's that. And if you're not familiar with it, the BDA, British Drag Boat Association, require a cut-off, and they require a selected squad, and they have to ratify people. And that's the point at which we worry about BDA membership. And you can do it online these days, so you can actually do it on the day. Yeah, that's that. Next question I'll ask myself, when will the time trial be? Well, Dubai is paddling. Yeah. Hong Kong is not paddling and is unlikely to be paddling before April. Likewise in the UK, and with the vaccine situation, it may be up in the air. So as soon as we're on the water, then we can start plotting some sort of route map. And obviously, if you're fit but not got water time, then there'll be a compressed volume building phase, a compressed time trial preparation phase, and then a pre-trial and a trial. It'll be shorter than normal, but that's why I want to get you as fit and working together as much as possible before that. So when we get the go-ahead back on the water in some meaningful way, then we can springboard into something and we're not kicking our heels around starting from scratch. Yeah, it's an unusual year, so we've got to sort of go with the flow quite literally, but that's the way it is. But the fitter you are going into that process, then the better you'll be prepared. So do sign up to the burpee challenge. That was a joke. Anyway, right. So that's that. Couple of points. Any questions at any point, stick your hand up, come straight in. Otherwise, I'll talk forever, you know. So time trials. Something, this a slight variation to what's going on in Hong Kong. We've had a bit of a reset in Hong Kong this week. Not going to bore you with the details, but it was going in that direction. Then it started going in that direction. Now it's going in that direction again, and that's fine. These things happen when you've got a group of 100+ people. Easy, simple reset. But the Prem team, and the Prem team is the Prem team, they're talking about GBHK. As far as the seniors are concerned, GBHK does not exist. GB exists, and you happen to be based in the UK and Germany. We have some athletes in Hong Kong and some athletes in Dubai and Mauritius and Holland, Scotland, even wherever that is. But the point I'm making is it's one team, one focus, one aim. It makes sense that if we've got a good cohesive bunch in Dubai, good cohesive bunch in Hong Kong, UK, we keep them together, and we may even have a 6-person, 8-person, 10-person plug in a boat that works. You see what I mean? So I'm not saying we're not going to mix people up for the sake of it, but we'll run people together as often as possible. But it's not the Hong Kong lot, the GB lot, which they call the UK lot. We're all GB, the UK lot. You see what I mean? It's not silo. The reason I say that is because at GB management meetings and coaches meetings, there's only one bloke in the last 10 years that I know about who's ever been bleating on about we should be working more as a team. Yeah, we're squads, we need, and that's me, right? Every meeting, even the last meeting, which was a couple of weeks ago, the last point was if the Euros go ahead and it's all up in the air, and there's not enough seniors, not enough senior Bs, there's no juniors anyway this year for some reason, and not enough Prems, let's think about, as a last ditch, putting a composite squad together. You'd have to call it a Premier team, but you see, at least if people are available, and that got a very, very lukewarm response, and it didn't even make the minutes. So that's where they are. But we are global. The application I put in got submitted and accepted along those lines. Yeah. So it's not the Hong Kong lot, the UK lot. It's one team, but we'll pick the crews based upon the skills and the cohesiveness of the groups. That's common sense as far as I'm concerned. So that looks sensible, but we'll see how it goes. John was in one of our teams in 2017, and it was probably the most cohesive open squad I've ever seen. We got every major final. We come last in every major final, but that's some doing. But the boats were mixed. That was the first time we did it, so we don't have to do that. But you see what I mean? It's for intelligent discussion all round. Fine. Any questions so far? Fine. Okay. Now, those of you who've seen might be following the 2021 challenge over the last 21 days. Firstly, thank you very much. What I did was actually introduced a series of 20 exercises, and guess what? We're going to start a challenge over the weekend. Now, let me just show you something, and really it's for you to comment on. I can see Mike smiling. That's always good to see. We're starting it in Dubai anyway. I'd like to make it Dubai and the UK and Germany if you're available, or the time works. But let me just show you this, what it is basically. Screen share, where is it? It's here somewhere. There it is. Right. So you should be able to see. Can you see that? Can you see? There what? Yep. Right. Right. Can we see that? Let me just tab up.
Yep.
There we go. Getting a bit slow. Here we go. Here we go. Now, okay. So this is what I'm suggesting. Flying Fish Challenge, or it's a GB Senior A challenge, really. And what it is, in a nutshell, I'll talk you through it in a minute. It's a 6 weeks challenge. Now, Tom in Hong Kong, eventually, it was a bit slow out the blocks, I've got to say. Tom's a great lad, but he goes missing in action, then he comes in with loads of stuff. So I prepared a backup challenge just in case. He's published something in Hong Kong, and we're going to run this in the UK and Dubai, and then hopefully join it all up when I'm a little bit more confident about the process in about 6 weeks' time. So it's a 6 weeks challenge. It consists of, just hear me out on this, 3 sessions a week and a Zoom session over the weekend for week 1, week 2, and then on the Saturday of week 3, we do the first challenge. And the challenge is essentially 20 exercises, 2 minutes on, 1 minute off, as we've done before. Now, and then we repeat the same thing again 6 weeks after that. So it's a 3-week cycle times 2. And at halfway stage, we do a mini review, and then we just up the ante a little bit. Yeah. Now, because some of you have already got exercise programs you're doing, you might be doing CrossFit, that sort of thing, then it's not obligatory. Okay. It'd be great if we do the challenges, but what I'm offering, because it's a comprehensive thing, is basically week 3 and week 6 is the challenge. The Saturdays, I'd imagine, will probably work best for people. And like I say, these are the exercises. All of these are backed up by videos. You've seen them all before. And if you're not familiar with them, then they're all there. And on the bottom of this is all the video links. If you're not familiar with the lying pull down as a dorsal, for example, it's all there to see. And there's progressions and regressions. And if you've seen any of the videos of the last 3 weeks, that's all there to see. Yep. So all the resources are there. What we basically do is, because in the main, ladies are different to blokes, it's sensible to have a starting point which is different. Now, there is an exception in the room, and that's Nikki, who's currently swinging a 24-kilo kettlebell. So if, I don't know, a lady, call me Timothina. Right, so Timothina comes in, and I'm swinging an 8-kilo kettlebell as a lady, and I do 20 reps, and Nikki comes in with a 24 kilo and does 20 reps. It's right and proper that Nikki should get a better score than me. Yeah. So these weights can change. What I'm suggesting for ladies, different for blokes, is we set a basic rate. So if we say most ladies should be swinging in terms of kettlebells or lifting at least an 8 kilo. So if you do an 8 kilo and you do 20 reps, your score is 20. If you do 20 kilos and do 20 reps, then your score is 32. You see what I mean? So it gets multiplied by a factor, same as it works with an ergo. We don't have to do that, but that would make sense to me. So you get credit for the weight you're using. And then you can decide as an individual, do I want to do 100 reps at 8 kilos, or do I want to do 24 reps at 20 kilos or whatever? You see what I mean? So you've got some agency there, because if you're working for 2 minutes and off for 1 minute, same as with the burpee challenge, you might want to build a rest. So I need to give you a bit of agency and autonomy and think about what you're doing. And that's what this is about. So don't just blast it out. You actually think about how you're going to get the best score. Yeah, bit of tactics. In terms of
sorry, can I ask a question?
Of course.
Yeah, sorry. That all sounds good. I just have a question. I'm not concerned, but I don't want this to turn into a numbers game and form goes out the window. I'd rather have like 10 good press ups than 20 crap ones.
Right. Good point.
But if it's a numbers game, then I'll give you 20 crap ones.
No, it's not. Well, I mean, you paddle with me. You're one of my training partners, Dave. Do I ever talk to you about crap paddling?
No, you don't. No, I'm just asking the question because it come in my head.
Excellent form. Good form is everything. Good form in paddling, good form in swinging a kettlebell, and that's why I've done the videos. That's my version of good form. So there's a certain amount of trust involved. So if you're swinging an 8 kilo kettlebell and you got to sort of self-moderate, yeah. But also what we've got, what I'll come on to, is some workup sessions on Saturdays or whatever, where we can talk about technique and fine tune that sort of stuff as well. But in terms of the challenges, it is all about good form first, same as paddling. Good form comes first, and then speed comes after that. So I would rather, from a developmental point of view, 20 good reps than 28 rubbish reps. Yeah, but there's a certain amount of trust involved in that, and I trust you to not do rubbish reps because you're in senior A. Yeah, that's it. Enough said. So some of you,
I think you got a good point that if we join the Zoom sessions, you can actually correct us and see our forms and say if it's rubbish or if it's okay.
Well, yeah, I mean, we talk about developmental points, but that's exactly that's the whole point of it. So in the same way that if we're sitting in a dragon boat, then and you were paddling like whatever, then we'd be saying, well, no, we actually want a better format of that. Exactly that. So yes. Now, you don't, once again, it's desirable, not obligatory, because some of you have got other stuff going on and you've got other programs you're doing, and that's fine. And the chances are, if you're doing, I was going to say hot yoga then, if you're doing, not hot yoga, if you're doing CrossFit, that's the word I was looking for, CrossFit, hot yoga. The chances are you're probably going to be hitting these sort of exercises anyway, if you know what I mean. So if you've already got a program you're doing, then do that, right? But if you don't have a program you're doing, then what I'm suggesting as a good way to work up would be 3 sessions a week. Call it Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or when you do it, it's up to you. Typically, like any sort of session, day 1, call it Monday, would be, as you see there, flexibility, mobility with a resistance band. Day 2 would be power and pressing exercises and some flexibility as well. And day 3, call that Friday, would be pushing and flexibility exercises. So it's broken down. There's some legs in there as well. It's broken down as you would imagine a typical session. This is like a workup session. And then on the 3rd Saturday, then we do the challenge. Post results, have a leaderboard, review, and then go again. And the anticipation is that on the second run through, the second 3-week cycle, then we'd either increase in terms of weight pushed, pulled, or whatever, or reps. Yeah. So we're going for progression, certainly not regression. The times here, and I'll send this out to you for comment anyway. Obviously, that's going to be 60 seconds off, 40 seconds off, 60 on, 40 off, times 10. And then week 2, 90 on, 40 off, and then week 3, 120 off. You see what I mean? So we're progressing in terms of time, that sort of stuff, and or load. Yeah. So that's pretty much what that is about. Video links there, everything, because you know I love my videos, and that's that. So give me some thoughts, give me some comments, cogitations. What do you think?
In general, I think that's great. Back to the first page that you showed when it comes to points in relation to the weight that you are swinging or using. I don't disagree. I think it's good. I was just wondering if, because I saw it on the training sheet for the Premier team, if we should introduce something in relation to the body weight. Because I could be, let's say, a 60-kilo bloke.
Yes, you're correct. But 2 things. Firstly, gyms are closed, so a lot of people don't have access to it. And part of this routine for this 6 weeks is accessibility. I mean, fortunately, I've got a full suite of equipment here, but that doesn't mean I'm going to start saying to you do TRX, pull-ups, get on the ergo. It's just not going to work. So as and when, what you're talking about, the Premier team a little while ago did a benchmarking exercise. Yeah. Now, we're not doing a benchmarking exercise in every couple of months. We're doing it every week. Yeah. So as and when gyms are open, as and when we get access to more equipment across the board, across the piece, then we can start introducing stuff like that. Yeah.
Isn't the main thing that we beat our own score? It was kind of nice to have some competition with, I don't know, similar shaped people, but because we're all so different, actually, I think I just want to beat my own score the next week, wouldn't I?
Kat, you read my script and you've read my mind as well. Absolutely. Yes, I mean, when you think about it, there's months to go before the hopeful competition in either the Euros, if that goes ahead, or more likely Hong Kong Worlds. But the good thing about these is you're in friendly competition with your teammates, but you really are. The whole point about it is individual progression. So if, for example, if Mike is doing, I don't know, say Mike's doing 20 burpees an hour then, 20 burpees a minute, okay, or an hour, and Ian's doing 50 burpees a minute, well, great, that's great to have friendly competition, but you, at this point in time, Kat's point exactly, you're chasing your own score, because the other thing is we're all different body weights, power to weights are different, that sort of stuff, so it would be unfair to try and match you against other people. But the weighting factor here is really just to give me an idea of the power to weight of individuals. In the same way, if you've seen the on the concept 2, they start with a notional paddler, notional rower of 120 kilos, whatever. And if you're 120 kilos, your score is the equal score. And depending on your weight, there's different, once again, factors. So if you're doing, I don't know, if you're doing 500 meters in 140 and you're 120 kilos and you're doing 500 meters in 140 and you're 50 kilos, then you're obviously a more powerful person than the heavier person in terms of power to weight. So that's taken into account. It's not exact, but it just really gives us an idea, and it just gives you an idea about how you're going to, because I'm wanting you to not just blast it out any old how, Dave's point is to really think about how you can improve the score. Yeah, that's it. Well, what I'll do is
a question from me, Tim, sorry.
Go,
sorry
yeah. I can only see 4 pictures at the moment, so yeah, come straight in.
I don't have access to weights at all. Well, not weights of any significance. So I'm using a TRX type of exercise,
right?
For my rows and stuff.
Right.
So it won't have a weight, but it'll have kind of an incline, if that, okay, an angle.
Yeah.
So I won't be able to do this, but I'll be doing something similar.
Right. So in that case, and this is an important point as well. Much as I like to try cover every base, I can't cover every base. So if, like Dave, you're working with a TRX, and all you need to do is drop me a line saying, by the way, I've got no weights here, I haven't got a resistance band here, I've got a body, I've got some space, I've got a TRX suspension device, something. And I'll just look through the list and say, right, okay, we can do this, this, and this, and this. On this one, do this. On this one, do this. On this one, do that. TRXs are really quite versatile. You can't do everything, but we'll find a way of accommodating all of that. Yeah. So don't worry about that. But
I'll drop you a line. I'll show you. I'll tell you what I'm doing and then what I've got access to.
Have you got a resistance band?
Yes, I have, sir.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, the point is pretty much even single arm rows you can do with resistance bands, but obviously you'll be doing more. But you see what I mean? There's a different. That's fine. But drop me a line. Tell me what you got, and we'll come up with a solution. Same for everybody else.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm with the. I'm sorry to hog this, but I'm. All right. I'm focusing more on the eccentric and concentric phases of the exercise. Yep. So I'm pausing at the top and then releasing it really slowly.
Yeah.
So my scores are going to be like way down, and that's why I'm talking about the numbers game.
Okay, fine, not a problem. Okay. We can adjust for all sorts. You know what I mean? It's not a. But the more you do that, if you focus on the specifics of an exercise, the chances are in 3 and 6 weeks' time, then you're going to be able to increase a little bit anyway, but with good form. But that's fine. That's an individual decision, and like I say, I want everyone doing good form anyway. And I think probably in competition, because it'll be like friendly competition, then you'll probably ramp up the rate anyway. If I know anything like you're paddling. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that at all, if you know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. I'll drop you a line later on.
Right. I'll send this out after this call. I'll send this out to you all. Any comments, any feedback, potentially, if you're happy with it, then we can go ahead as soon as this weekend to kick it off. So just give it a quick once over. It looks more complex than it actually is, but what I've sent out to the Dubai people saying, week 1 do this, week 2 do this, and every week I'll just be saying, this week do these exercises, do it for this amount of time. So rather than going back to the same old document that nobody reads, which I know, I'll just say, do this one line, do this, crack on. Yep. Now you've got this day. Yeah. And we'll see how it goes. Hello, Lachlan. Any points on that? Any questions so far? Right. Okay. Fine. So
no, just to clarify, Tim. So this is running alongside the current spreadsheet.
Right. So great. Great point. I'm glad you're here because I go off track because I'm an IOP these days. Right. So your returns every week, right? I did the paddling return today. It takes me 38 minutes, so 45 minutes with a warm-up. If you do the ergo, it takes about 45 minutes. If you do the gym return, it takes 17.5 minutes. Okay, so that's your priority. Okay, because that gives me data that I can work on in terms of fitness recovery, etc., etc. Call that a selection piece if you like.
And
Hold that thought.
that set of exercises, if you haven't got a ergo and you can't get on the water, is the idea that you do the same set of exercises every day that week?
Right, it's in the email, but what I'm asking for is to do that routine once a week.
At least.
Okay.
Right? If now really as a GB athlete, I'm looking for more than once a week. I'm looking for one return a week. Personally, I do it every day. That may not suit your schedule. I'm an OAP, so I can do that. But if that doesn't suit your schedule, then if you want to send in 7 returns, send 7 returns. What I'm asking for is a minimum of 1.
Oh, sorry, misunderstood. I thought it was one of the 3 every day, and then I thought, well, if I can't do 2, that's a lot of the same exercises.
I anticipate, and I know a lot of you have got other routines you're doing, CrossFit, hot yoga, and what else? And Nikki, I forgot what it's called. Formula
45.
Right. Okay. See what I mean? So if you're doing that, I'm not saying you don't have to do this program, because if like Nikki, you're doing the F45 program, that's a pretty comprehensive program already, and the chances are, give or take, you're hitting all those marks. However, what I would say is do still come and do the challenge. Yeah, because it's the part of the challenge is doing the exercises. Second part of the challenge is getting people together and just meeting up and working out. Yeah, so that's really the key part of it, because we talk about the race psychology piece, getting people together, working together, and people talk about come the day of the race, literally queen and country, king and country. Okay, wearing the shirt, fine. That's what you talk about afterwards. What really matters is the boys and girls in the boat. So you're going to be working hard for not queen and country, even though you're wearing a nice Union flag on your chest. You'll be working hard for the people in the boat, which are part of your team. Would you agree, John?
Yes.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So that's what this is about. Good, well scripted. That's what it's about. So if we don't have a team, it come the day of the race, whenever this race is, if we don't have a team that works together cohesively and works hard for each other, we don't have a team. Yeah. And I'll give you a case in point. One of the most successful GB teams to date was Mickey Doyle's 2007 Sydney, I think it was, World Championship. Won a few gold medals or something. Did really well. And talking to Mickey afterwards, he was a very brusque Irishman, if you know him. I asked him about how the team worked. He said they were, quote, a selfish bunch of bastards. This is typical Mickey Doyle, if you know him, who I managed to just about keep together till the final on the final day. And after that, they bomb burst. Some of the people in the boat absolutely hated each other. Now, that's okay. That might work. But my experience is the better team spirit you've got, the better cohesiveness you've got. People work hard. And when push comes to shove, if I'm sitting next to Dave or sitting next to John or G or Mike or whatever, you're working for the people in your crew because you know about them, you know something about them, and it just works better. When you want to pull something out of the bag, that's where it comes from. It doesn't come from flying the flag. You do that when you get the medal. So as I said in the previous email, it's about icing and cake. I'm here for the cake. Sorry, I'm not. I'm here for the cake. I'm not here for the icing. The icing is nice, but we're here for the cake. We're here for the journey. Wherever the journey takes us this year. Yep. Okay. Enough swinging the lantern on that. Fine. Any questions so far? Any points? Angie, you're very quiet. No, that's all right. Okay, fine. GB prep. So
Wake up, Angie.
Say again. Right.
Just asking Angie to wake up.
Oh, okay. I was asked by another group, is it okay if I'm in the Premier team and the Senior A team? Now, you don't need permission to do anything. You vote with your paddle, you go where it makes you happy. But I'll just offer this. I'm 59 years old. I can do so many pull-ups, so many press-ups, whatever. My son is 22 years old. And for every press-up I can do, he can do 2. For every pull-up I can do, he can do 2. For every star jump I can do, he can do 2. And it's called physiology. There comes a time in your life where you might be fit, but you're not as fit as somebody who's going to be in the Premier team. So if you're going for that, go for that. The last year that was available to us was 2017, and we did really well. But if you look at, and I've mentioned this before, if you look at the World Nations 200 in Pattaya, it was won by China in 39.25, new world record. It was lost, 5th place, only 5 in the final, by Italy, who lost it in 43 seconds. I don't know about you, I've done a couple of 44s in my life. I've never done a 43. Yeah. This is the whole standard of the whole sport across the globe has gone up massively, such that the sort of, we were sub 2 team, 159, we're 58, whatever, in Kunming. So those sort of scores, ladies as well, which were preserve of teams, are now the preserve of Senior A. Okay, so if you're going for Premier, it's a very, very, very high standard. Okay, go for it by all means, and you go for it with my blessing. Do what you, but just bear in mind that when you get to 40, physiology is slightly against you. That's all. So just bear that in mind and have to think about it. But choose not focused on, oh, I'm in the Premier team, because I've been in the Premier team and so has John. But everyone's got to decide where they think with their athleticism, their skills, their fitness, and all the rest of it, their skills are best suited. And you make an individual choice. Yep. And that's it. That's all. That's all. And I think, John, what do you think? Hong Kong World Nations Championship in the Far East, given the quality of Far Eastern teams, what do you think the standard's going to be like?
I think, given everything that's happened politically around that part of the world right now, China will put in a pretty strong team. They're not known for putting, every boat in every category, but I think they'll make an effort here. Yeah. Hong Kong will still be, pardon my French, but still terrible shit, because they just don't have a good paddling training structure in Hong Kong as a city. But of course, it's not far for a lot of other nations to come. Thailand is, 2 hours away. Taiwan, 45 minutes away. Korea's 3 hours. Japan's 3 hours. So I can see a lot of those teams turning up. I don't see Australia turning up at all. And I think there's a big question mark over Canada. So for anyone, and the UK squad that is prepared to get over there and spend the time and get on the team, then I think there's a lot of opportunities. The local, relatively local talent will, of course, they'll put in some strong teams, but I think there's more opportunities in terms of numbers for us.
Yeah. But I think if this goes ahead, given what John said, and a couple of teams, a couple of countries that don't travel for whatever reason, but I think the standard will be insanely high across all categories. So that's it. So you go into it with your eyes open, realistic. Yeah, that's all. And really, would you really want to be going to a World Nations Championship, which was a rubbish standard? Whatever you get out of the championship, you get out of hard graft, and that's what you're going for. Yeah. But there you go. Okay. What else do I want to talk about? Yes, the purpose of these meetings. This is really just like a little bit, not a reset, but an explanation about some things. Over successive weeks. Now, if you ever look on the Teams platform, there's all sorts of documentation and videos and this and that and training resources and suggested sessions. Strangely enough, I'll be surprised if any of you have read any of it. Yeah. The whole purpose of posting it in the first place is to have a resource which is available to you. So on these sessions, when I'm, say, for example, talking about skeletons or scales pieces or whatever it's going to be, then we'll talk about it on these sessions, and then you'll have a resource to go back to if you wish to know a bit more information. If I'm talking about a certain series of exercises, there'll be a resource, a video resource to go back to. If I'm talking about training sessions, there are 16 training sessions, suggested sessions going on there. If you really don't know what you should be doing or what sort of stuff, and you can see from that, you can start putting your own, mix and matching, putting your own sessions together. If you already know, you've done it before, and you're an expert about everything, fine, but this is like a starter for 10 if you need that assistance, and it's what I'll be referring to, yeah? And you might see some stuff there that's quite interesting, okay? But it's come around from 10 years of playing this game, so I think it's it's worth a look at the first instance and then give me some feedback from there. So that's that.
Tim, on Teams, sorry, even though I use Teams every single day of my life, and I don't have a problem when I'm at work, but on my iPhone, I can't edit that file.
Right. In terms of returns, I shouldn't really say this, but if you can get onto Teams, put your returns on Teams. It really is important I get your returns, but if you have a difficulty with it, send them to me. But I don't want to be inputting 100 people's data, if you know what I mean. So if you can do it, do it. If you really can't do it, send it by email, yeah? But try and keep...
Same issue, Dave.
Yeah, it's a pain, isn't it?
But if you...
better on a laptop, a Mac or something, rather than phone.
Right, okay.
Okay, but sorry, Tim, sorry to add to the mix here. Yeah, I've got a pretty... a lot of my security devices are very secure for business reasons.
Yeah.
I've got Teams on one account. When I open up a second account, it does cause things to get very confused. So I've got a couple of issues with Teams as well on the phone.
That's fine. What I was going to go on to say.
So it's only 96 then, Tim, not 100.
Right. If you've got to help me out a bit. If you send data on an email, can you just package it on a little table? Please do not send me 20 screenshots of your concept 2. Because what will not happen is it won't get on the show. I haven't got the hours in the day to do that. So help me out. If you want me to input, no problem, but give it to me in a form that I can use. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that's great.
That's fine. But no worries at all. That's fine. We talked about race psychology. Burpees. Let's talk about burpees and the rationale behind it. Right. Burpee challenge. What is it all about? It's a bit of fun, but there's some serious science behind it. It could be burpees, it could be press ups. What I'm trying to get people to do is 1, burpees because I love them, and 2, think about the most efficient way to get to a number. So there's a number of you here and elsewhere. In fact, my son's doing it as well, just to prove me wrong. But we're looking at different ways, and what I'm getting you to do is, right, you've got a task. You've got to do 100 burpees. So are you going to blast them out like you would say, may head down, arse up, and go down the race course and just it's all a red mist? Or you can say, well, let's do 10 a minute, rest for 30 seconds, 10 a minute, or perhaps I'll do 15 a minute and rest for 10 seconds or whatever. So you're thinking on purpose about some race tactics. Point being, what we're not looking for international level is somebody who just says to me, oh, just I don't want to know about the rationale, just tell me what to do, I'll do it. Well, that's great for club level racing and great. But if you think about it, you're doing a 500 meters and you might be probably something like, with a fast start, 130 strokes. Yep. You've got to be thinking about each of those strokes on purpose. And we've got to be working out how you're going to get the maximum power and propulsion out of each of those 130 strokes, because that's all it is. So when we start talking about that sort of stuff, what I want to get you to start thinking about is being a little bit analytical about how you're going to get the best out of your paddling or ergo or kettlebell swinging or whatever. Yeah. So when it comes to paddling, rather than just, if you look at the returns, and it's called returns rather than homework because it suggests something's coming back. Yeah. That was a joke, by the way, but you know what I mean? It sort of goes out and it comes back again. Right. That's why it's called a return. So you think about, well, so I'm going to go and do a start. Well, am I going to do a 70-stroke start and die, or am I going to do a 20-stroke start and survive? So that sort of thing. More about that later on, but it's just getting people thinking on purpose about what you're doing and why you're doing it, rather than just head down, arse up. So we're red line, we're not red mist. That's it, really. That's that. Are you going to peak too early? No, you're not. All we're doing at the moment, we're not doing sprint training. Well, we are doing sprint training because Dragon Boat is a sprint discipline. Question. Who thinks a 2,000 meters is a sprint? Anybody else?
I mean, if I was in a It depends what I was. If I was in an OC6, yeah, it's a sprint.
Right. It's a slightly longer sprint. And I'll talk about stroke rates in a minute. But to my mind, the 2,000 meters is 4 straight sprints and 3 turn sprints. And that's how we train. So the reason I'll talk more about that when we're on the water, but the reason we talk about a lot of HIIT work is it's about maximum optimal effort, short recovery, and go again. Yeah. And we'll end up training you. So we had it a few years ago in, where was it? Canada, where they were doing 1,000 meters and they suddenly decided that we're going to do the heats at 10 o'clock, the semis at 11 o'clock, and the final at 12 o'clock. And everybody else that I know about complained about it. And we said, we've been training for that, so let's crack on. We've been training people to do 8,000 meters straight off, so big deal. So now you're giving us 3,000 meters in 3 hours. So it's how you train. If you train to be resilient, you can deliver resilience to a point. Now, what we're not going to be doing in a boat is doing 1,000 meters, 1,000 meters. It's there's a time and a place, there's context to it, and that sort of stuff. We prepare you to be resilient. You'll be resilient, and you'll soak it up, and you'll perform. Yep. So that's what that's about. So, to my mind, all of dragon boating is a sprint discipline. So there'll be always tempo training, capacity building, but the heavy emphasis on sprinting and maximizing, optimizing effort. That's how we do it, or have done it in the past. Yep. So that's that. But 2,000 meters is certainly not a leisurely discipline. And yeah, you're looking at 8 minutes. 8 minutes for 2,000 meters is pretty good going in a dragon boat. So that's what we're aiming for. Yeah. So that's that. More about that later on when we talk about rationale. And really, I think sessions. Yes, question. We've got a few more people on the GB squad. How are we going to get more people engaged? Because it doesn't matter how many emails I sent out, it doesn't matter how many videos I make, how many bat signs I project. It's going to be you people who get the word out and say, actually, this is worth doing. This is worth coming to. So how do you think we're going to do that? How are we going to dig out Fernando and Gary? If Gary's still about, I don't know if Gary's still involved. I haven't heard from Gary for ages. You see what I mean? How are we going to get these people engaged?
It's a difficult year to do that. I mean, I've approached a couple of people that I've paddled with in the past at Seclo and everything, and they say, oh, come on, you can do this. And it says, is it going to go ahead? And I go, well, I don't know. So it says, well, let me know when it's going ahead. So it's kind of the chicken and egg, you know what I mean? I won't waste my time this year, but maybe it's next year.
Right. Because, I mean, it's a good point, and it's this year amongst many years, there's all sorts of challenges, and we understand that. And from your communication with me, I know the personal challenges that a lot of people are going through as well. So and obviously that's the priority. But the journey's slightly different because we don't know for definite that there's going to be a competition. So we've got to make something here that is worth coming to. So for example, if you are doing hot yoga, CrossFit, Pilates, whatever, and everything, then you want to be here because this is a great value. Yeah. So I've got to work out ways to keep people motivated, and even if there is no competition, that's a possibility, isn't it?
Tim, have you spoken to Fernando? I mean, recently, if he's still up for it.
I got a message from Fernando just 2 weeks ago. I know there's some issues going on there, and he may actually be relocated in terms of jobs. So there's some significant lifestyle issues there.
Because last time I spoke to him, which is quite a while ago, he didn't sound like he's up for it to join the BNTS crew, but I might be wrong.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, what's also important, and I mentioned a few people today, actually, the stuff I'm sending out, my job is to send you out options. Now, some are sort of requirements and some are optional. So I see my job as to keep generating stuff But what I don't want to happen is people get stressed out about weekly returns, right? And this is, I had a few conversations over the last few days, and this is really, really important. People saying to me, you know, I've come in at week 3, week 4 of the returns. Do I have to catch up? The answer, no. You come in where you come in. Because I want you to do the returns because you want to do the returns because you want to be part of the group and involved in the process. I don't want you to do the returns because you feel under pressure, because there's too many people under pressure doing different stuff all around everywhere. So you don't need more aggravation for some old bloke like me telling you to do press ups and sit ups and burpees. Do it because you want to do it. And also, going on the lines of the democratic style, it's not authoritarian. So yeah, I would not respond myself in a team where someone was just saying, right, you do this, and I say to him, why? He says, because I'm the coach. No. That's never going to work in my world. Yeah. So that's where it's going with that. So my job is really to create that climate with you. Well, you create it really. I just point the way where you find something that's worth doing and you want to be part of. Yeah, but it's not stressful. It's stressful enough in a World Nations major final, believe me, having done a couple. So it's not stressful months out. Yeah. So let's keep the stress where it needs to be. Yeah. On the paddle. Okay. Right. That's it. Let me just check my notes. Hong Kong. Why prepared now? Prep for reasons. Psychology. 16 sessions. Yeah. That's it. Race psychology. Burpees. Yes, we talked about burpees. Communications. As you have been, and this group is really good for this. If you have any problems or challenges, you don't have to give me the ins and outs, but tell me about it. So don't suffer in silence. So if, for example, I was going to say Sandy's not here. If Sandy's got a foot problem, she's told the world. But if she didn't, I don't want Sandy getting stressed out because there's issues, or anybody, and she thinks I need stuff and I'm chasing her for stuff. You see what I mean? So if you communicate, I can't do any returns this week because I'm doing this, that, and the other. Fine, of course. Your health is the most important thing, absolutely. And all the other fundamental stuff, building block stuff, that is number one important. And once you've got those in place, then you can do some training. I'd rather you take some time out, get sorted out, and then the training you do will be better quality, better value training anyway, rather than being too stressed out, knocking out a few 500 meters on an ergo and it being rubbish by your account. And then you getting stressed out because you think it's rubbish. That's self-defeating. Yeah. So communicate and all is good. Yeah. That's that. Right. I love to talk. That's all I've got to say. I can see Nikki going, oh, he's shut up at last. Right. Okay. Shut up at last. Right. Any questions from you? You're looking all dazed. Yes. G, go.
I just need to get familiarized with your videos because my notification for my subscription to YouTube is jumbled. So that's why I'm doing the challenge in the past on a different day.
Okay.
So I don't know how to fix that issue. Like, for example, I got confused about the burpees. The burpees to me has different variation. And then you put flying fish burpees. I don't know exactly what you meant. So
watch the video.
Yes.
I made it. I was thinking of Mike when I put it together. So it's a little bit more advanced. Now the point is, there's videos for everything. So when I send this out to you, this little proposition for the S&C, all the videos are on. So just click on the video and have a look at it. That's it. Yeah. And the videos are, most of them are a few minutes long. So you'll start off with the exercise. You'll have a variation for resistance bands. You'll have a progression. They call it a regression when you take it back, like long lever, short lever, incline press ups, renegade, everything. Yeah. So everything I think is relevant to that exercise. So you've probably got 6 variations on each. Yeah. And if you're into burpees, you can start off with a simple frog steps, bunny hops with a press up, with 2 press ups, with 10 press ups. Go as far as you want. Yeah. So just have a look. It's time in your life you can't get back. But when it comes to resistance bands, and this is important, I can't promote these. I haven't got shares in resistance bands. I should have, but I've been using resistance bands for 2 or 3 years, and apart from a few minor niggles, I've been largely injury free. And the last point from me is, who's got a Lamborghini or a Ferrari, John maybe, in the garage? Right, okay. Say you had a Ferrari in the garage and you left it there for 2 years. And every now and again, you got in the driver's seat and you turned over the engine maybe, and you turned on the lights, yeah? And in your Ferrari, you've got all sorts of bizarre, weird and wonderful gadgets, and you've got a heated this, that and the other, and the sunroof, and you didn't use any of these things for 2 years. And then you decided one summer Sunday to take your Ferrari, Lamborghini, Bugatti out for a spin, press the button, and strange enough, the sunroof and the heated this, that and the other didn't work, right? Now think of your shoulders and your hips as being a Ferrari or a Maserati, right? You have to look after them. You have to use them in every way they're designed to be used. So rotator cuff, the most frequent paddling injury. Your rotator cuff is 5 separate intricate muscles that do all sorts of different things. And G will give you the detail on that when I get my terminology mixed up. But you have to exercise it and keep it in good nick. And then when you come to use it and jump in a dragon boat, it's going to do what it's designed to do rather than get injured. Okay. So if you're into anything, have a look at resistance bands, yeah, and have a look at the maintenance and development stretching, and I call them daily stretches. But that's if you do nothing else, do have a look at that and do some variations, and that's it. And I now really have said enough. Nikki, any thoughts?
No, empty.
Empty? No, I don't think you're empty.
Yeah. Strong light.
I've asked a question on Teams. So
say again?
I've asked a question on Teams for the week 4 returns. Just a rough idea for the RDLs. What weight are you looking for in percentage of body weight?
Oh, right. Right. Got it. I've got you now. Right. For week 4, what I'm looking for is a weight and a number of reps. So at this stage in the game, twice your body weight. Everybody else, go for a sensible weight. Okay. So go as, when you think about it, what we're looking for is, 1 rep max is important in terms of strength and conditioning training, but principally this sport is a strength endurance based sport. Yeah. So if you can lift a 50 kilo kettlebell and do it once, that's great. But if you can do a 1 kilo, maybe not 1 kilo, a 20 kilo kettlebell 50 times, probably that's more in tune with where we're going with this particular sport. So go for some sensible weight that you can manage and go to lift it, decide what you weigh. If you're going 20, 28, whatever you're doing, then go for maximum good quality reps. Yeah. So if you can swing or lift a 50 kilo kettlebell repeatedly, fantastic. Bearing in mind the challenge in 2 weeks or 3 weeks time is number of reps and weight as well. So go as high as you want, but do it good quality and do it more than once.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Andy.
I was just thinking back to what Dave was saying actually earlier about how one of the main issues is the questions that Dave was asked, is it still going ahead, which we all don't know about. And just following on, Tim, what you're asking, how do we get more people interested and involved? Could we use hashtags? I'm not suggesting we all need to start videoing ourselves working out, but use lots of hashtags, social media. I guess just trying to convey that message out there that there is still structured training going on, because we are preempting a competition happening towards the end of the year, and maybe that's what people need to know.
And if nothing else, more than this, if it's nothing else, there's a great training group, there's a great bunch of people working together, and whether or not the competition is going ahead, I am. So it's a positive training group, as well as lots of other things as well. And the other thing is, we're not the social services, but we are looking ahead. We are moving ahead to a future. It may be uncertain, but it is there. The future is there. I'm confident of that. There is a future somewhere. I don't know where it leads, but I'll be going there, and I'll be going there as fast as possible in a boat. That's all I can tell you at this point in time. Yep. Okay. That's it. And don't reply to all, Candy. Right. Okay. Tony, any points?
I was trying to build up the team spirit, but I'm really
No,
sorry about that.
I get it. You won't be surprised to see what my email inbox is like. Why are you doing this? Blah blah. Anyway, blah. Tony, my friend, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Yeah, just taking it all in.
Okay. Fine. Scotty, how are you? I saw the dog.
Yeah, a little baby.
Little?
No, but
That's little.
yeah, my little pug. No, it's good. So it's good to getting together with everyone and just moving forward in the same direction. I think that's probably the most important thing for me. So,
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's nice that we're all sticking together and we've all got like a bit of a shared vision. I know that's a bit cheesy, but it's nice for me to sort of connect with people.
Yeah.
And sort of move forward in the right direction. So I'm quite happy, thanks to you.
Okay, brilliant. Davey, what do you think?
Yeah, no, all good. I think I've exhausted all my questions.
Okay.
I'm pretty good. I'll just send you what I'm doing, what I've got available, and then we can work something out.
Yeah.
I did do. I'm just looking at on my iPhone now. Which one I've done? I think it's number 3 I've done on the monthly returns.
Yeah.
So I'll send you that in a file you can upload or something.
That's why it's called a return. Absolutely. Don't keep it to yourself.
No. I mean, it's all good.
It's not called a keep.
Do my best.
No worries. Thank you, Dave. Brilliant. Mike, Mr. Burpee.
I'm not Mr. Burpee, I'm Turmeric.
Okay, fine. That'll do. Any points, my friend?
All set.
Okay. G.
No, I'm sorry. I try not to talk too much in Teams, and
Why? I do.
I know I'm your female version, but I'm just trying, like what Candy said, it's just to lift team spirit. But yeah,
It's really important, isn't it? It really is important.
It is.
I do get confused with terminologies because obviously you're using very different lingo to where I'm trained. So I tend to ask questions a lot. So I have to apologize for that now.
Chances are, if you're confused, someone else will be too, G.
Chances are, you've managed to ask a question that's been in my head. That's a lot of times.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Fine. Okay. Thank you. I'll try and Ian.
Yeah, no, it's good. As I say, it's good having that structure that you're putting in there, but with having that flexibility to do your own stuff as well, because you say people's lives are different, so they've got to work it into what they're doing currently. So, and every situation is different. So as long as you say, as long as we're all moving forward, I think that's the key bit to it. And you say building that team spirit is key as well. So
Brilliant. Thank you. Angie.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Cat and Joe.
I'm sad that Angie's not huddling with a glass of wine this week.
Okay.
You can't see what's on the table. That's the secret.
I think I've got access to the form, but I've got a different issue because I just don't know how to write in what I've done. But I've already sent you my bad.
Yes, I've seen that. Okay.
Whatever. Anyway, I'll figure it out. I will figure it out. It sounds really good ongoing. We just did. Well, I did my first attempt of the 100 burpees and it was horrible. It was really long, but I now got something to beat, so that's why I'm pink and sweaty.
But you see what I mean? What you're doing is you're thinking on purpose and you're actually competing against yourself. You're not competing against me or G or John or anybody. You know, it's just friendly stuff and people sharing. So if Mike's doing one routine and I'm doing another, so by the way, I'm doing like this morning, I did 6 minutes at 13 and then knocked out the last 22 or whatever it was. So just try different things, see what works for you. That's it. But it's not.
Kat, did you do the club burpee challenge in the first lockdown?
No, I think I avoided that one.
Yeah, I think that's what put me off for life. Was how many burpees could you do cumulatively over the space of a week? Some of us got a little bit competitive.
Yeah.
Hideous.
How many do you reckon you could do, Mike? Thousands.
I don't like them. I'm too heavy for that.
It's
I
a funny
rather
thing, isn't it?
swing a kettlebell, you know.
When I was at school, which is a long time ago, everybody had ropes and climbing frames, right? Obviously, then they thought then they invented health and safety in 1974, and they banned climbing ropes. But the three exercises that people are always scared of: one is pull-ups, one is burpees, and one is climbing ropes. I suppose now people are scared of battle ropes, and the only way to conquer it is to do it and work out a method of doing it that's sensible. Yeah, otherwise, you know, you always fear what you don't understand. And from the parachute training school that I was at 35 years ago, knowledge dispels fear. That's it. Yeah. So I don't have to knock out under the day, but if you've got something in the way in terms of training that you don't understand, single arm pull up, maybe not that, single arm press up, give it a go. Try it. Think of a method to work up to it. There's always precursor exercises. You can work up to it and give it a go. And think of the confidence that comes from saying, well, actually, no, I can do 50 burpees. I can do 10 pull-ups. It's not that hard if you start and have a logical process. And guess what? It's the same when you get into Dragon Boat. So how do you get from where we are now, maybe, to doing a sub 2 minute 500? You apply a bit of brain, a bit of technique, practice, and away you go. There you go, 159. It happens. And that's it. The same process involved. Anyway, blah. Lachlan.
Tim, I was appreciative of your grouping all countries together for Team GB for Senior A. I wasn't sure where you were going when you started with that, but I do really appreciate the way that you are thinking of us as one team. So yeah, definitely.
I don't know why they do this silo thinking. I think it's a crime against paddling.
I can understand, but I do appreciate the way that you're addressing that. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Okay, fine. Well, that will continue until they sack me or whatever. Okay, Lachlan.
Yeah, thanks, Tim, for keeping everything going, because it's quite a challenge, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't have much to add because I was late and missed half the meeting. Maybe the only thing I've entered my mind today is I never thought I'd miss the erg, to be honest. But I actually kind of like to get back on one.
There's hope for you yet. Fantastic. You see, love the erg.
My wife would kill me if I bought one, unfortunately.
I would imagine now, if you were, I would surprised if there's any second-hand on the market right now. Yeah, they would have been snapped up a year ago, wouldn't they?
Exactly, everything's gone. So I'm back on the bike. I'm out on the bike every day. It's the best I can do.
But you can do the returns on a bike as well. You see what I mean? It's still interval training, isn't it? So whatever you can do, rope climbs, burpees, anything, get them in. No worries at all.
I did my return today, so you may have missed it because I literally just uploaded it.
Brilliant.
So,
Thank you. And last but not least, Mr. Walsh, hailing from whereabouts in Germany?
Frankfurt at the moment.
Oh, so you're in Neckardrachen country.
They're about an hour and a half away. So they've invited me to come training with them, but they only train a few times a year. So I'm currently in and out. Well, during the summer when we were able to paddle, I was in and out of boats on the river, which is a bit dull actually. It's not like being out on the sea, but it's getting the paddle in the water, so that's what matters.
Yeah. Okay. And you still got that basis?
Sorry.
So yeah, you're saying I cut across you. Sorry.
No worries. So just to reflect on a couple of things. I mean, first of all, there is still a big question mark over whether it's going to happen or not in Hong Kong. But what happens if we do all the work and we do all the exercise and we all come up out of this being tremendously fit and healthy? That's not a bad thing from my point of view.
Well, that's a realistic possibility, isn't it?
Yeah. Just means I'm going to save a few quid on having to fly back, which is fine, no problem. Yeah. And just reflecting on what one of the other team members was saying then about bringing the squad together from across different locations. That's what we did in 2017. I flew over to Liverpool to do the training weekend. Thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a big moment for me to be on the water in my hometown, and then to be able to get back in the boat with a bunch of Brits in Kunming and put in the performances that the squad did, I thought was fantastic. So getting all these different skill sets and different styles of paddling together in the boat as one is a really good thing for us, and it'll help elevate all our performances. So very much looking forward to it.
I think it's, I mean, last point, and this is some of the conversations I have with some people in the BDA, not everyone, is I think they must think that I think I've mentioned this before, they think I'm trying to recruit Hong Kong fishermen. Now, if you know about them, John knows, if you know the fishermen teams, they are strong teams. So if they were eligible, I certainly would recruit them. But the point is, you know, we're not recruiting Hong Kong fishermen, and we're not recruiting Bedouin out of the UAE desert. We're recruiting British passport holding British people. And sometimes that message doesn't quite compute. You know, there's ways you can be eligible. One is residency, one is Britishness. And all we have to be in the GB team is actually a member of the BDA and be British or resident. So that's the way it is. So that's the way we go. So we go ahead anyway. Right, enough is enough. Thank you very much. I've overrun, unfortunately. In that case, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for your time and your patience and listening to me for another hour or so. And I wish you a good evening. I'm going to have your dinner.
Yeah. Good to see everybody. Keep well, keep safe. Thanks for tuning in.
Cheers, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.